Hello dear students, how are you? I hope you are all well. In this lecture we're going to talk about the nested if formula using if function, if inside if. So please pay attention, this lecture is going to be very important for you. Now in this lesson we're going to talk about nested if. And what is nested if? That means there's a lot of conditions that we cannot do in one if, using one if, so we're gonna go for nested if. Nested if means there's an if inside if until all our conditions are finished. Then we're gonna stop using if, we're gonna close all the brackets, and we're gonna solve the problem. Now before 2016, Office 2016, there is nested if, just like this one, if, inside if, and inside if. Now in 2019, Office 2019 Special Pro, we have the if-s. If-s, as we can see, checks whether one or more conditions are met and returns a value corresponding to the first true condition. So instead of using a lot of ifs, what we will call nested if, Excel just created a new function, does the same thing but using only one function in the formula, which is called if-s. In this lesson I'm not going to give you the if-s because I'm going to leave it in the next lesson and we're going to do a comparison between them. I want you to know how to use the nested if, because most of the computers maybe doesn't have the version Office 2016 or 2018, so that will be a problem if you will not know how to use the nested if. So first of all, I'm going to give you the nested if function, and then I'm going to move in another videos or another lesson to the if-s function, sum if-s function, min if-s, all the if with the s function, that means more than one condition. So let's start with the nested if function. Nested if is not a function, it's a formula. The if is the function in Excel. As an example, if we're going to go for mark grades here, as we can see this sheet, we have an issue or a problem or a question. Find the status of each student's mark in the table below according to the provided notice. This is our notice, and I'm telling the students, or who's using Excel, to do a formula for me. Instead of writing the letters or the grades for every student, I want to create a formula that can just in one click, I'm gonna fill handle, drag all them, and all the students will have their correct grades according to their marks. So how can I do that? As I said, I have more than one condition. That means I need to do a nested if. If I have only one condition, I can use only the if function without using any more arguments or values. I'm telling them that from 0 to 9, these students will get an A mark, an A grade. From 10 to 19, the students will get from a B grade, and from 20 to 30, that means grade C. What I'm going to say now, it's not quite, I want you to put it as a rule, but this is an easy way to just don't make you confused. It will make you just think more easier about how to do the condition. Now I have three conditions here. As I said, I need more than one if, but how many if are we going to use for this problem in the same formula? Basically, just put it in your mind. We have three conditions here. That means I'm going to use only two if in this formula, because the third one will be in the false value of our formula. How let's see it together. Now 15, according to this notice, it must be B. 20, it must be C, and keep on going like that. But I want to tell you that the condition of if, it's not a fixed to be solved. No, you can figure out more than one condition. You can do a lot of conditions to go and seek for the correct answer, and maybe you're going to solve it right. So what I'm going to give you now, I'm going to give you two types of condition that you can use for this problem, and also you can just maybe you're going to find another condition that make it more easier as you thought about this problem. So it's according to the person. It's not a fixed solution. No, conditions can be made by you, and maybe you have another idea, you can just solve it. So it doesn't matter if you solve it like this one or like this condition. Now let's go for this condition. As I said, I have 3. That means I need 2 if in it. To start here, what do we need? Let's do it together. First of all, I'm gonna go for if. Logic test. What is the condition for me? Now we're gonna go for one by one. I'm gonna say that if the mark is less than what? Because 9 is included with A, is less than 10. What? Now we're going to go for the true value. If it's less than 10, give it A, comma. If it's not less than 10, it's greater than 10, that means I have another condition. I'm going to go for the other condition and see if the mark is less than what? Then 20, comma. If it's less than 20, the true value will be B, comma, and what else do we have? We have the false value. Now what is the false value here? The false value is if it's greater than 20. What shall we do? If it's greater than 20, till 30 is gonna be C. So I'm not gonna need another if, just I'm gonna write in the false value C, because if it's less than 10, it's gonna be A. If it's not, we're gonna go to the other condition. Less than 20, it's gonna be B. If it's not, just go for C. How many brackets do we need to close? How many brackets we opened? Sorry, we have a if here, I forgot the if, sorry for that. The false value is an if. How many brackets we opened? How many brackets we will close? Basically as well, but most computers maybe will not have it. You're gonna close the brackets when you see the bracket is black. That means this is the end or the last bracket. Just to drag or double click if you have a table here. As we know, we have here all the grades. So 15 is B, 1 is A, 30 is C, and keep on going. Now I have another condition that you can use as well. Not less than 10. I can do it what? Equal if the logic test is if the mark is less or equal 9. I'm gonna go for this side, comma, make it A, sorry, comma. If it's not, I'm gonna use another if and check the condition. If the mark is less or equal what? 19, it's not 20 here, we're gonna go for B, or we don't need another if, close the bracket and press enter. So as we can see, the same result, but I used different conditions. It's about you. Excel is flexible. You can use whatever condition you want, but of course it must be correct. Okay, let's go for another example. I have an example of salary, or let's stay in the example about students, and we're gonna go here for another example. Let's say this is a practical subject and we're talking about computer applications for accounting. Okay, and we have this table, 7 students, these are their names, midterm exam about out of 30, quiz out of 20, final is out of 50, so the sum is out of 100. Okay, first of all, what do we need to do? Like this, and of course we have the conditions. I told you that from 0 to 49 this is fail students, 50 to 55 pass, and these are the grades that I want you to do. So this depends on what's on the sum. So first of all, I need to sum these and just drag. Okay, now what? We're gonna go for results. As I said, we cannot use if function because we have a lot of conditions. So we're gonna use the nested if formula. Nested if formula. How many conditions do we have? We have 6. That means we're gonna use 5 if in this formula. Let's start with the first if and see what's the condition. Equal if, and we're going to check the total because we are comparing the marks out of 100 to make the grade for them. So I'm going to select this one now. Here is F3. If the mark or F3 whatever is less than, I can go for 50 or I can go for equal. Is less than 50, this is fail, comma. Okay, if it's not less than 50, greater than 50, that means we're going to go for another if, and we have another condition here. If the mark, the same thing, if the mark is less than 60, like this one is pass, comma, and if it's greater than 60, we're gonna use another if as well. Check the mark. If it's less than 70, comma, the true value is medium, the false value, if it's greater than 70, the false value is another if, and the mark, what is the mark? F3 is less than 80, comma, what is this? Good. And if it's greater than 80, we're gonna go for another if the mark is less than 90, comma, this is very good, comma we don't need, because if it's not fail, if it's not pass, if it's not medium, if it's not good, if it's not very good, that means by default it's gonna be excellent. So I don't need another if here. How many brackets are we gonna close? How many brackets we opened? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're gonna close 5 brackets until the color is black. Double click like this and we can check that 52 is pass, 90 is excellent, 65 is medium, 29 is fail, so our problem is solved. This is all about nested if, how we're gonna solve it. Of course we have a lot of conditions, problems, everything can be done like this. Just focus on how many ifs do we need, what are the conditions, do the condition right, and everything will be right. This is an example for salary if you want. Also have example of the opposite of it. We're gonna check with A like this. If this one, if the grade is A, that means the bonus is 750 or 250, 500 or 1000, or there is no bonus. Just like that. See you in the next lecture and next video, and goodbye. Keep safe for you and your family.